Well, hey there, guys, and welcome to Man-O-Rama. Tonight, we're talking about how men should deal with depression. Since it's the last Tuesday of Men's Health Awareness in June, what better not? But what better not? What better way to talk about one of the big issues with men, and that is depression. Um, we'll have a little jokes. We'll talk about how we can deal with depression. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Stay tuned. Have a great panel with us. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm very excited about this one. All more. Stay tuned. Well, howdy there. Welcome to
Howdy.
the 81st
Howdy.
episode of Not the Oscars and Not Anything Woke. Man-O-Rama. I want to go down around the table, up the creek, down the creek, somewhere around there. Yahtzee, bingos. Jason, how was your week been?
It's been okay, other than the tooth problems that I've had lately. But other than that, it's been pretty decent. Just been creating music, been watching stuff mostly. So
Nice.
just been relaxing for the most part. It's been pretty good.
Fancy Nancy's. Tyler, how's your day been? Or week?
Pretty
Day,
good.
week, whatever you want to say.
Today was good. Week was also good. Work has kind of slowed down a bit, so I've been trying to balance R&R with actually getting out and exploring hobbies. I've been taking my dog on hikes, runs, going back to the gym, and I felt myself kind of slumping into a little bit of depression. So I'm actively trying to pull myself out of it by doing healthy activities. That's about all I can do. A good week overall.
That's good. Tom.
Keeping busy. Again, busy week. There's actually something opening up. I was going to share this with you guys here. There's a gentleman here. He's trying to help young gentlemen such as you, and he's opening up an alpha male club this week to meet once a month or something. So I'm like, okay, so I might check it out. Just something men helping push each other. And we need alpha males back. It's 100%. So yeah,
Yes,
I
we
like
do.
it. Yeah, so it's really cool. I'm gonna look into it. I told him about your show too, so hopefully we can get some of them joining the show and then watching you guys. So
Nice.
And Canadian Spider-Man, our own dog whisperer, next to a creek or river.
Yeah, yes, this is the Shuswap River, and this is Lily. Lily is one of my best friends. Hi, Lily.
Ah.
No.
what a beautiful view, though. Oh man, I gotta.
It really
Yeah, I'm
is.
jealous.
How was your week there, Canadian Spider-Man?
Well, I've been mostly just doing this, so it's been really good.
Nice.
Really good. Yeah, it's been all right. Just hanging out by the river with the dogs, cooking over the fire.
Nice.
It's been fantastic. Really good. Yeah. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Anytime. My pleasure, man.
Hi, Lily.
My week's been pretty fun. I know Andy Masterson, he's trying to jump on. He's having some camera issues. So I just told him, try jumping off and then back on. And
Try plugging it in and unplugging it again.
Yeah. I couldn't think of a line from there. Oh, I'm disabled. That's such a good show. Oh, I love it. My week's been pretty good. It's a lot of work. The Celtics won the NBA Finals last week. Shocker. Yeah, it's been a pretty good, decent week. I might be going to the range for the hole punch to use my hole puncher.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm still trying to see if Andy can figure out technical
And Florida
issues.
won the Stanley Cup Finals last
Yeah,
night. Series.
I realized this that Canadians, you suck at hockey.
It seems like it.
I'm
again,
sorry,
we're
you guys can't win. You guys can't win jack shit.
93 was the last team.
All the
My
best
team
players
won. My
play for us.
Canadians. So
Hey, you know what? Here's the thing. I've figured this out. Canadians, they suck at hockey. gonna stand the cup in your own time. Hey, it's okay. You can't hold a border.
We'll play you. Tom and I will take you all on.
Hell yeah.
We'll still
Of course
win
they will.
because America's good at hockey. That's why every Canadian comes over to Canada and we can be like, yay.
Hey,
welcome.
now I can see finally.
How's your week been? Besides trying to get the camera to turn on and off again.
You know, the funny thing is that I did nothing different. It gives you the drop down. I click the right camera and it's highlighted, and then it doesn't work. You close it off again, and it goes back to the other camera. You switch it back, and it goes back, and it still doesn't work. I pop out, and it doesn't work. I go back in, it doesn't work. And then I goes in there, and I unplug the camera, and I plug it back in, then click it, then it worked.
That works. Yep. That's okay.
You know, Rumble, for all of the good things you do, sometimes you suck.
Yep. Well, they're
I'm
Canadian,
sorry,
eh?
guys. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. So tonight we're talking about depression, and it's a topic I didn't want to personally do, but being June, it's Men's Health Awareness because Pride Month sucks. There's a conundrum right there. I forget who told me about that one. They're like, that's a clever phrase right there. Pride Month sucks. But yeah, it's something I was like, you know what, we got to do it. Like, talk about it. It may not be fun at times, but you know what? There's some guys that deal with it, and it's one of the main things that men deal with. But before we do that, here we go. I'm still trying to figure out how to produce, host, and everything, but we're gonna do this, guys.
Twitter.
That's right, guys. Just don't be that guy. I have one that I found. One. Mostly because I was working, I was doing manly things, and I got tired of going to look them up. It's hard to find these things. But don't be that guy. If anyone's new to the show, don't be that guy.
Steve, you're a little muffled.
You're a little muffled, Steve.
Yeah.
It's Rumble side. Because Tom was muffled a little bit. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
I think
Cool.
it's the beard
I
and the
feel like-
mustache.
Maybe. I feel like I'm a Verizon. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
So if you're new to the show, don't be that guy spans across from simp tweets to guys, even women, whoever will post something really stupid, and you're like, really? Let's correct
Yeah.
it. So
Yep.
let's get into this, shall we? It's our favorite Pokemon. Now, here's the thing. I actually like this tweet that she did, or X, or whatever you want to call it. It's not a bad one. POV. I take you out to dinner and pay for everything. It's not a bad. It's, I've seen a lot of those types
She's
of
rich.
tweets
She can pay for everything she wants.
No,
you
that's
know?
a dude. That's a dude.
We're not doing that one.
That's a dude.
We're not doing that one.
Yeah, it's not a dude. It's not a dude, actually.
But it's this one. It's this guy.
Please feed me.
Please
please
feed
feed
me.
me.
Guys, I'm going to open it up to you guys. What is the better response to what Pokimane said?
A dick pic.
Besides that,
But she gets them daily, private message. She gets that daily.
Oh, I'm sure.
I don't want
Like from you? You mean?
Oh hell no! Like I would bang her easy and just leave, but she pays for the food, free food, free sex. Okay, I'm done for it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
But-
hard to argue that shit.
But so
Never
what would
free.
be the best response instead of please feed me with praying hands? What would be your best response to, like, if you were him? How would you leave a comment? That
Nothing,
doesn't sound
because
weird.
she's so far out of my league. There's so many people that are
No.
fighting for her attention. She's not going to see it anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if you run into it on the street or something, maybe you have a shot, but the probability of it actually working, it's just don't waste your time. Don't make yourself look like a simp on the internet. Just don't.
Yep.
As a photographer,
Yeah.
I've worked with models not even as famous as her, and they get tons of stuff like that on a daily basis. So I can imagine she
Yeah.
gets tons and tons. It's like, oh, okay.
Oh yeah, and she complained about it before. That's why she left Twitch and all that. It's just like, yeah, what the? It's so stupid. Stupid situation.
I'd ask her, could she cook me a homemade meal? I'll be very impressed with that.
Yeah. Can she
I
make a
know.
good
Honestly,
sandwich?
Train
You
is
know, a
mad
good
right now.
sandwich.
Yeah, I know.
Can she make?
So-
Can she make a good sandwich?
Exactly.
How I would approach this is I probably wouldn't respond like what Tyler was saying, because the amount of replies and responses she would get, or anyone would get, of that stature of popularity, pretty ridiculous. Michael Moore.
Good dog, Lily. Good dog, Lily.
It's a noisy train.
I know it never ends, but there's always a better way of approaching those things, instead of, unless you're saying it as like a joke. If like I said it to Andy, Tyler, or Gary, or any of you guys, like jokingly, sure, but it's like I don't know the person. I'm not going to leave a comment like that because it sounds very desperate in a way of
It sounds
like
desperate and stupid.
yeah. So I would just be like,
It does.
so what are we ordering? I would say, so what are we ordering? That's pretty much what I would say.
Yeah.
Or I'd just be like, can I pick the most expensive
Add the
meal?
lobster.
Like, at least have fun with it.
Exactly.
Like, joke around. Not in a way where it's like, feed me. It's like, oh.
Well, he not
And then
just
I
sounds
saw-
desperate, but he sounds poor. Like, I can't afford,
Yeah.
But
Right.
also, I saw some comments in there that was saying, no, I always pay first. My rule of thumb is whoever asks the first date, you're paying. Like, if I was single and there was a girl who goes, hey, I want to take you out. Okay, I have no expectations. But I
But
told
they
Gary,
never do that.
I know.
They almost never do that.
I always bring cash with you just in case.
So by default, you're saying the man should always pay.
Yes.
Yeah.
No. No.
But here's the thing.
No.
Here's the thing. Some women understand this. If when they ask a guy out, they know, okay, I'm paying for it. But some women, they're just like, you know, I'm gonna ask him out, and then it's like, oh, I didn't bring my wallet. Well, okay. That doesn't mean you're ever gonna go on a date with her again. But my rule of thumb is, whoever asks the date out first, you're gonna be paying. Pay up, Buttercup.
So by default, the guy.
Yeah.
No. I want
This
a
This
written
is why
note saying
today's my man single.
you will. Yeah.
All right, so tonight we're gonna dive
Want
into it.
assurances.
This is a more serious topic, but it's a much needed topic for everyone out there, and because everyone deals with depression differently, and it comes in waves with some people, and it's, I don't know. I think it's something important that we should talk about. The first question I have for everyone is, how did you handle depression? Tom.
That I guess it depends on how the depression hits and what's going on at the time. It can vary, really. I have different escapes for it. Music is a big thing for me. Like, you'll never see me without these headphones out in public. Music calms me. It keeps me centered. It can, give me an escape in my head and everything from to metal to grimes to everything. Sometimes gaming. But it varies per, I guess, what happened too, is why the emotions are hitting hard. Sometimes I just need to go for walks, and sometimes I hit the weights harder than usual. But yeah, how I deal with it, it varies depending on whatever. Like I said, I mean, music is a big thing though. That's one of the biggest things I'll say for me. Music was number one, and then gaming or going for walks and just sitting behind a camera too. Behind the lens for me, I know it sounds stupid, but sitting behind this lens when I'm taking pictures, I can escape a lot too. So that's another thing. So, but it depends on the depression really. But yeah, music is number one for me. That has helped.
All right. Jason.
Well, for me, it's also music is one of the things, of course, because I write music and create music. So that's one of the things. But the biggest thing for me is editing, working with movies, working with all this kind of stuff, because that's what I mainly started with. And just spending my time doing that, that's what helps me the most. And read, I love to read, everything from comics to books to whatever that I feel like, storybooks. A lot of things like that is what helps me to deal with depression and is coming. I normally like feel it the day before, 2 days before I start to feel it, on my personality and all that kind of stuff. I kind of start feeling that something is going on. So I've learned to like see the red flags when I get it. So then I normally just I do something that I like, to try to keep my mind busy most of the time.
Andy.
I've done every bad thing to deal with depression that you can imagine, and they don't help. Don't drink. Don't do drugs. Don't be self-destructive. All it does is it makes you feel worse when the ramifications come for you.
Yeah.
You notice everybody's got a common theme on this thing. It's get yourself busy. Get yourself out and do something. If you're finding yourself, there's feeling low and there's depression. Depression is actually a medical diagnosis, and if you're depressed, it's more than just feeling down. So you really have to differentiate between what it is you mean by depression.
Yes.
However, getting yourself into some reasonable physical shape is going to help you immensely. Certainly, it's not going to hurt. It's going to give you an example of some changes that you can make in your life. Because a lot of times, one of the reasons we feel depressed are because we feel powerless in our lives. And you have the ability to make some changes just with your own body. And once you start to see that, you start to see how you can make other things change in your life. You also want to look at the food you're eating. The crap that you eat can definitely affect your mindset and your mood. Eat some things that are healthy for you. Avoid the sugars and the junk food that will give you that temporary fix, but it's going to crash you and you're going to feel worse. So get yourself busy. Find a hobby that you like. Find a little bit of an escape, something you can go to on a temporary basis. You're going to have to get back to the real world eventually, but get a little thing that you can do on the side that's going to help you take your mind off of things for a little bit and then work on it. And then work on the other things. Start to look at what's causing your feelings of depression and gradually start to engage those things so you can fix them.
Yeah.
Well,
Can I actually add something on to what Andy said quickly?
Yes.
Losing weight and getting in shape, 100%, you're right on that, because I had overweight and diabetes and stuff. I find when I continue to lose weight, I feel so much better. So, like, trying to work out, trying to get, so 100%, when he said that, it's like, yeah, that helps so much. Yeah.
Yeah. Tyler.
Yeah, I guess to piggyback off what the other guys were saying, knowing what you're up against, because every now and then I'll get bouts of depression that just seemingly come out of nowhere. What works for me is trying to figure out if there's a reason for it. If there is, really just hunker down, deal with it. Like Andy was saying, yeah, I did the self-destructive route as well. It did not help. It made everything so much worse. So really just trying to stay busy. But when I get the depression out of nowhere, that's when I really know, like, okay, dude, like you need to get up and do something about it. Because with depression, it'll knock you on your ass and keep you there as long as you allow it. It makes you feel powerless, but it all depends on you. You got to get up, do some hobbies, pray. That's helped me quite a bit. Getting out in nature, just going for a long hike or something, that really helps. Reaching out to friends if it's getting really bad. And the depression where going through a divorce, losing friends and family members. Yeah, I mean, you just got to get through it. You got to know that eventually you're going to come out the other end. You'll be okay. It's the depression that comes out of nowhere that really gets me. It's where it's like, man, what the fuck? Like, why am I so sad like multiple days in a row? So yeah, have I been eating healthy? Have I been exercising and just doing everything in my power to try to counter it, I guess.
All right. Canadian Spider-Man. He seems a little occupied.
Hey, that would be
getting-
deer hearts and a bowl and maybe a good fire, eh?
Well, yeah. Well, getting out into nature, for sure. And if I get really, I don't really get depressed, but if I get the urge to just get away from the pressures of whatever of life, just getting out into nature, absolutely. And if you have a dog that you can pet, that's as good as Lily, then that helps too. Petting dogs, fantastic, or cats or animals. Women, if they let you got to ask first. It just
Wait, are they
it
paying
helps.
for dinner?
Yeah, are they paying for
You have to pay for the dinner. Yeah.
But that's the trade-off. Getting out into nature big time. And I've also thrown myself into work. If I've had a relative pass or a friend pass away, and when they die, you're wouldn't call it depression, but you're definitely in a bit of a funk. So throwing yourself into work helps. I know that's pretty common for guys to do, especially. And barring that, animals and getting out into nature, and killing and gutting a deer would also help, I think, just to get rid of that.
Yeah. I asked Jason. So how I deal with depression. Wait, did I ask Jason? He was the first one.
Yeah,
I
you
asked,
did
right?
me. Yeah, you did.
Sorry. My brain, I'm doing multiple things. But how I deal with depression, I used to do it the self-destructive way, drinking. Pretty much that was it. And it's just like it never solved anything. For me, it's always a hobby. Like for doing Lego, working on something, doing something active, like keep myself busy. And it's that for some reason always helps. Like keep yourself active. I try to not sit in one place if I'm depressed and then just sit there, because then unless if I'm reading the Bible or doing something active, then it's a little bit different. But if I'm just sitting there, whatever's on Rumble or YouTube or Netflix or whatever, then my brain will shut off from what I'm watching, and then I'll just start thinking about what makes me. And there is a difference, like when you're depressed. It could just mean, I'm just having a downtime. It's not anything drastic. And then there's like an extreme level of depression where it's just you don't want to get out of bed. And that's like we never want to get to that point. So just be active. And I think that's important.
Depends on what she looks like.
What?
Yeah, it depends on what she looks like if you don't want to get out of bed.
Yeah. But the next question I have.
That's pretty extreme though, isn't it, Steve? Like that's like I've never been anywhere near that. Like what? Like we're talking like what? 1 in 100 people get that level of depression where they don't get out of bed, or is that more common?
It's been more common in the last few years, I would say.
Yeah, I think I think it's more common now than it was, say, 10, 15, 20 years ago. I think that has to be an extreme level of trauma to allow that happen. I know, like a death in the family would cause that or something. If you're really close to a family member, it could really affect you, or even a close friend. Like to me, that's that level of like extreme. And it's because I think a lot of guys, we just deal with depression in a way where it's just, for me, if something's not going the way, like, I know this sounds petty, but like in middle school and high school, like I got depressed one time. It's like really petty, but like as I get older, it is. But it's like when you're younger, it's a little bit different. But it's like, oh, she won't talk to me, and the girl you like, she's not answering a phone call. You know that's a breakup. That just means you're feeling down, and you'll get over it. And I learned as I got older, there's a, it's okay. Like, because I think it's like when you're in high school, middle school, you're like, this is the one, and then as you get older, you're like, no, it never works that way. But yeah, I think there's a different level of depression that hits us.
Also, let's keep in mind too that if you have to seek professional help,
Yes.
you need, if you feel yourself and you're feeling you may harm yourself or you're feeling particularly distraught, make that call and put it out to somebody. If you don't have somebody that you feel like you can talk to in your life, then call a hotline. Talk to someone, and see if you can't. And again, there's a difference between feeling low for a time and then like a chronic thing where you're feeling just absolutely depressed for extended periods, and you have to do something about it.
Yeah, I think going, like, if you have a good core group of guy friends that you can just go to and just talk and be like, this is what I'm dealing with. Because sometimes I think with me, it helps where I can go to like Andy, Gary, Tyler, any of you guys, and be like, this is what I'm dealing with. I'm just gonna lay it out to you, and usually that helps because then I'm hearing advice from older guys that are just being like, well, this and this and this. Have you tried this? And then it's just talking to you guys. It helps. And then, but there's some that are like, hey, I'm self-harming. Talk to a hotline. Talk to someone close. Like, just that's a point where it's like you need some help, and anyone that can help you, just do that. It's important. The next question is, how can guys learn how to handle depression? Now there's the self-harming way where you do drugs, alcohol. Some guys will end up going to strip clubs and doing all that stuff that is not going to beneficial you at all. Andy, or I was wondering, I was like, why does he have pliers right now? All right, Tom Hanks.
I did that once. I did have to remove one of my teeth. 4th of July weekend, 1986. Bit into a quarter pounder with cheese and split the tooth right in half. No health insurance. Dentist was closed. Popped out my knife and popped out each side of it.
Damn.
Drank some whiskey. Killed the infection.
Damn.
Get insurance. Health insurance.
Yeah. More of the story.
Anyway, you're going to say, Steve.
So yeah, how can guys learn? It's a little bit different. Like, it sounds like the same question from the first one, but it's a little bit different. How can guys learn?
Okay, number one, anticipate that it's coming for you. Not everything is going to anticipate. Like, say to yourself, look, as young men, we have this tendency to think to ourselves. I call it the if scenario. If I'm really quiet, her father won't hear me climb into her bedroom window. If I don't get pulled over, I'll be fine driving after I drank this much. If well, let's take that away and say, what happens if it doesn't work out that way? Anticipate, like, all right, things could go bad. And so start to look at things. You know what's bad in your life, and it tends to be the thing that's like right up in front. But look at start counting all the good things in your life. Like, for example, do you have feet? Well, most people have feet, yeah, but some place out there is somebody that doesn't. So if you're lucky enough to have feet, that's number one. Do you have a place to live? Do you have food? Are you reasonably intelligent? Are you like, do you live in the United States or Canada or something that's not like some desolate third world country that probably doesn't have internet? You're not watching the show anyway. But count those things and look for things like what's good about you. Like find things that like are good things about you. So, and that includes, I don't kick dogs. It sounds stupid, but we tend to think of things as like a starting point of like zero-sum game. If you're being a good person, you're not kicking a dog, you're not cheating people, you're not being an asshole to beyond normal expectations. But anticipate these things and say to yourself, here are some good things about me. And then also look at things like here when things are up and here's where they went down, and they will go up again. It's not necessarily on a one-to-one basis, but no matter what you're going through, things will get better. There's very, very few cases where things will just keep getting worse. So keep that in mind that, like, yes, right now things can suck, but it will get better.
That's good. Jason.
I know I agree a lot with Andy there of what he said, and it's not much more I can add to it, to be honest. But learn to handle it. Everyone is different when it comes to it. Everyone is different how to handle stuff, and how when you learn, it's like for me, it's work. That's how I learned. Come to just understand that I have depression, that I have my problems, and yeah, when I was younger, I came to the terms of harming myself, and that's how I handled it when I was younger. I started hurting myself, with, the typical stuff, with, harming your body, drinking, drugs, and all that in a really young age. And, that doesn't make your life easier. I will say that. It does not make your life easier. It makes it so much worse, and I can feel it to this day. That's why I have some tooth problems too. That's why my body isn't the way it should be, because it is destroyed, it's fucked up because of all that. And the depression, got worse and worse when, for example, when you go on drugs and the drugs goes out, it's suddenly, the depression gets worse, and sometimes, you can go really manic when you're on drugs or other stuff, and so that's not the way to handle it. So it is to come to terms that, for me at least, it is, I had to come to terms that I have a mental health, I have these problems, and trying to do the stuff that made me happy, and just trying to focus on that, trying to talk with friends, family, no matter what it is, and just trying to handle it the best way I can. And the way I think is that, life's too short, make the most of it. And that's a way that I think all the time, is that life is too short and you have to do the best of your life. You never know how long you will have on this earth, and trying to do the best with the life that you have, and just continue on and try to set some plans, even if then not all plans will succeed, but at least have some plans in your life that you can try to achieve, and focus on that and fight for it, and don't sit on your ass and just be depressed all the time. Just don't sit on your ass, don't do anything. That doesn't help. It does not help. But just sitting here, you have to do something, and trying to do soul searching to find out who you are, what can help you, and all this kind of stuff. So there's a lot of different stuff I can go through when it comes to it. So, yeah.
All right, cool. Tom.
Well, not going on what I said earlier. I'm going to open up here and be honest, if you guys don't mind.
Yeah.
In my 20s, I suffered from bad depression. Bad. I used to travel the country. I was a gypsy, lived in Toronto, Montreal, blah, 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 blah. But I also went through some dark times. I used to write dark poetry. I'm actually looking to do it now, and that was an escape. But I also worked at a suicide hotline. I don't know if I can say that or not here on a live hotline, whatever the word I can use on these channels. But I worked at a hotline and helping people and stuff. I had to quit eventually because mentally that drains you. It really does. But I also attempted that myself. I was lost in my 20s, didn't know who I was, trying to discover myself. So come on, many years later, after trying to get in DJ school, became a graphic designer, got my degree there, blah, blah, blah. Coming to my late 40s, and just a couple of years ago, I still owe taxes. I still owe this. I'm still struggling, and I attempted it again. And even to as close as thought of it this year, because I lost my 2 cats last year. And like Jason was saying, animals are very important in one's life. That's another thing too. Getting an animal is so helpful. My 2 cats, the oldest one was 16, the youngest was 14. He died of cancer in December. The other one died of a heart attack in January, the oldest one, and they saved my life multiple times. And so an animal, I find, is a very important thing, or just somebody around you. And if you don't have anybody, you got to realize, call somebody. I actually did see a counselor. I seeked help. I don't be afraid to call these lines. It's easily available online, readily available. It's anywhere. You just Google it and you will find it. So don't be afraid to look, because we're hurting. And I think people would rather you look for help and, seek it than not have you would round it all. And that's sadly was it 77% around the world of men doing that to themselves now. I mean, it's and it's hard out there. The world, we can go on breaking how the world is, and yes, I'm leftist, but the extreme thing are idiots, and they make these judgments and they do stupid calls. I agree with you. Pride Month is BS. This is men's mental health should be all year long, but that's a different topic altogether.
Yeah.
Just don't be afraid to look for help. Don't be afraid to look in yourself too and say, okay, I'm broken, but I have to stay here for the people around me, and I'm here for another reason. The reason I survived was a reason. So now I have to try to be the best person I can be. So that's the best I can really say. But yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Canadian Spider-Man.
I think it's important not to keep doing the same thing and keep trying whatever approach you're using. And if it's not working, then learn from that. Don't be stubborn. Don't keep repeating the same thing. See what I did there? So you've got to talk to someone, even online. It doesn't have to be in person, even online, and try a different approach. If you're trying something and it's not working, try a different approach. Reading these things called books that are made from paper.
What's a book?
I'm not kidding. Books will change your life.
Yeah,
the right book will pull you out of a depression and really help you. And there's so many people that have gone. The other thing is, don't be so foolish enough or high on yourself to think that you're the only one going through this. That's the other thing. Books will help you realize that, hey, there's a lot of other people have gone through this in the past. And so you're certainly not alone. And if they can get through it, some of them more fucked up than you. And like someone else on the panel said, you've got two legs and 2 arms, or even if you, you're missing one of those things, at least you have something, you have the others. You've got the ability to have the internet and watch this program. So don't get so down on yourself that you think that no one else is going through the same thing. You're not alone. And so you can learn from books, talking to people online or in person, and don't keep trying the same thing.
Yeah. Jason.
You asked me, man.
Yeah, you already got it.
Did.
Yeah.
See,
Tyler.
I should write
Hey,
these
puppy.
things down
Hey, puppy.
for each question. I'm like, all right, did this person?
And by the way, just to jump on his thing about books, I'd suggest everybody here. This is a good book. Somebody from UK suggested for me. Reasons Stay Alive by Matt Haig. He's an author, but he talks about his. It really helped me a lot with depression. He talks about it there. It's a really good read.
For a second there, I thought Tom was going to about pull out his Twilight books. Here's the thing: those do not.
No, bros. I hate
Steve, can I ask Andy a question?
Yeah.
I have a question for Andy. Andy, are you aware of any famous tough guys or martial artists, like someone really famous, like tough guys in the public sphere that have tried to commit suicide and that we would know?
It's a good question.
Thank you.
I don't know. I
That's
don't
why-
know that there's anybody out there that that, and if they have, I'm not aware. But if they have, I'm sure that would be a good thing if they did come out with that and say that they've struggled with such things. And that kind of brings us to an idea that one of the things I think people often struggle with is that having unrealistic expectations sometimes can lead to feelings of depression. And this can be, I mean, if you look at like American Idol, and we've seen American Idol, and you watch people go on there, and you think to yourself, somebody in their family told them they were good enough to go up there and perform. I know what I'd be getting them for Christmas. You have to be realistic. You go out there. It's like if you're, if I go to buy a shirt and I'm a little heavier than I want to be, then maybe, but I've been hitting the gym and my arms look good. Well, maybe I want to get a shirt that's a little tighter in the arms, but a little looser in the midsection, so it doesn't show off my gut, but does show off my arms. I'm not going to go like, prancing around in a Speedo and thinking to myself, look, don't I look spiffy? You have to be realistic about your expectations. Quite often you'll find people that think that like, oh, I'm just the best thing ever because mommy told me. And then when you get that rejection from the world at large, it can leave you in a state of shock. So be realistic about it's like Steve Rowe, Mike Rowe once said, just because you have a passion for something doesn't mean you're good at it. You have to be like I'm never going to be a world champion guitar player because I don't know how to play a guitar and I've got no musical ability. But I have to be realistic about that. And if my ambition is to do that, train as much as you can, but also get some realistic feedback to find out what you can do. Because this age we're living in that tells you can be anything. Somewhere there's somebody out there that probably said to Peter Dinklage, you're probably not going to be in the NBA. And no matter how much he might want to, he's not going to make the cut. So be realistic about your expectations.
That's racist.
Racist against little people?
That's racist.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Well, maybe he'd be okay in the MMBA.
Tyler.
What was the original question again? I'm sorry.
How much of the Twilight books do you? No, I'm just kidding. How can guys learn? No, wait. Yeah, how can guys learn how to handle depression?
It just comes with experience, man. Like, you're gonna take losses, you're gonna deal with some overwhelming shit. You just have to learn to not necessarily be comfortable with it, but get used to it to a certain degree. And like I was saying earlier, get up and get off your ass. I mean, you can't stay there, but you need to know that you're going to experience losses. You're going to be down on your luck. Shit's going to happen. Just figure out how you can persevere through it, and lean on your faith, and whether it's communicating with God or whatever you believe. I'm Christian, so I talk to Jesus. But just have the faith that everything's going to be okay, and then take the steps to make sure you have the best chance to pull yourself out of the depression as possible. Just do something to better your situation. That's really all you can do.
Yeah, that's really good. I like that. For me, I have to look at the question. I just forgot. Man, it's talk to someone. Talk to close friends. For me, there was a moment where I got depressed with the show. and my expectations a little bit. They weren't like crazy high, but it's the whole, man, am I reaching people? Am I doing something right? Is this worth doing? That kind of thing. And it got to my head and it just pushed me into a depression. Now, the weird thing that I was dealing with a few months ago was I wasn't depressed about anything else. It was just after the show, just got depressed. I was like, is this even worth it? Is this something I need to do? Is it like, am I doing something wrong? Like, how can I reach people? And it just dragged me down because I was being told in my head, this is not worth it, and all these crazy things. And it allowed me to just drown myself into believing that stuff. And then I had to talk to a few people, and boy, did I get my ass kicked into shape. And it's because of those guys, it helped me learn a little bit about, like, hey, it's okay. But outside of the show, I was like totally fine. Like, you wouldn't tell. But for some reason, it just I always tell guys, find a group of guys. You don't need 10, you don't need 20 good guy friends. You need about like 3. Like, there was, I think Joey Diaz said on Joe Rogan's show, you just need 3 motherfuckers so you can take over the world. That's it. You need 3 dudes that are stick by your side, and you can take over the world. In a way, he's right. Not saying go out, take over the world, guys. Not condoning that.
Did he mean 3 in total, like 3 musketeers?
Yeah, just you and 2 other guys, or 3 other guys and you. Like, it's.
Yeah, you don't need a dozen. No way. You don't need to be
No,
popular
you
with
just-
1,000 friends on Facebook and 24 likes a minute.
Yeah.
You just need a close group of friends that'll just tell you up front. You might get one guy that says, hey, get out and do something. Get your butt off the couch and go do
that
something.
brings up a good point, Steve. It's like, what is your motivation for doing something? Like this show, for example. One of the reasons that, like, I was happy to get on here with you when you asked me was that if it doesn't matter how many people you reach,
Mhm.
if you can help one of them, if you can help one person, or maybe 2 people. If you think about it, there's people out there. Yes, some people can reach millions of people and do and have a huge impact. But if for one person you have a huge impact, and one person, I have a young man that I teach, and he stayed after class one day and he said, I just wanted to let you know that there's been times in my life where I thought about hurting myself. Since I've been doing these classes, I haven't had those thoughts.
Nice.
No matter what, it doesn't matter. There's places that have much bigger schools than I do. There's a lot of things that that I could look at, like, well, I'm not this successful. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many students you don't have, how many viewers you don't have. What matters is the ones that you do have, and if you're doing right by them. If your goal is to entertain people, then be entertaining. But if you're looking at it for the wrong reasons, you're not going to find fulfillment in it. Find fulfillment in the things that if you're helping somebody, you're making them feel better, you're giving them an outlet, you're making them feel like they're not alone. And it's okay to be down. It's okay, and you'll find out that you will get back up again. But you have to want to, and you have to think clearly, and you have to make a plan, and you have to stick to the plan. Everybody can want a different outcome, but are you willing to do the work for it? And and that's where things like prayer come in, because it can help you center yourself. Because I think often many people they get into situations that make them depressed because of their ego, because their expectations of what they want from something. Well, maybe that's not what's in store for you. Maybe that's not what God had in mind for you, and you're trying to gratify your own ego. You're not going to find fulfillment there.
That was right on the nail on that one. It's like for me, it's I have to have a solid core group of guy friends that I can just go to and just be like, hey, this is what I'm dealing with. And for some of them, they were like, we couldn't tell. And I was like, yeah. And once I explained it, and people, a lot of close friends were like, hey, how about you do this and do that? And I know with Gary, he's all like, take this hammer and go hit some nails. He pretty much just paid me. He goes, I'll pay you to work, whatever. But it's, and just for me, it's always comedy. It's having guys who joke around, make live of things.
Yeah.
I always tell people it's life is not going to be fair. It's not going to be fun. It's not daisies or roses. It's going to kick you in the nuts, and it's just how you get up, pretty much. And one other thing I'll say this: watch Rocky movies. That'll suck depression right out. You'll feel good about it.
That's not a joke. That's not a joke.
I remember there was a time where I was actually depressed, mainly because I was dealing with just my life is not going the way it should, and it put me on a downer. I ended up watching all the Rocky movies, and I'm like, holy crap! It just took a couple days to just watch the Rocky movies, and I'm like, dude, like I can go accomplish anything. Doesn't mean I can go out and be the world's best boxer in the world, but it means I can actually take on the world. And that's when I started learning, like, oh, this is how I can overcome. This is how I can deal with it. Because if you just sit there and just let it soak and just ponder by yourself, if you're doing it alone, that's also damaging. Like you got to have some life support. You got to have some guy friends there. I know some guys are like, well, I have all these friends that are girls. Like, no, that's not going to help. Like Rocky, that can be it's different. I always say this: men think logically, women think emotionally. You're going to get a lot of emotional thoughts when it comes to women giving advice, which some women can give really good advice, but it's when it comes to guys dealing with this stuff, it's go to a close guy friends, especially one who's older and who's been through a lot. They'll have the best wisdom and the best approach of, hey, this could work. Doesn't mean it's going to work all the time, but hey, this might work. And if it gets even farther and darker, go to a hotline, talk to a professional, and just deal with that. Because it's, no one wants to see people, their life ruined because of depression. It's especially, I know some people who are great guys and they just allow depression to get control of them, and they haven't gotten out of it, and it sucks. I'm like, man, we could have gone camping, we could have done all these things.
Yep, you're right.
And then let me pull up the last question.
Or even if they think another person could never love them, well, then get a dog, because there's a dog.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody. Like that dog needs you. You could benefit that dog at least.
Like there's a point. Okay.
Human, at least benefit animals.
Yep.
So who here owns a dog? I know Andy, Tyler, Canadian Spider-Man, you own a dog, right?
I don't stay still long in one place, so no, I've never been able to own a
You
dog.
just steal them.
I borrow my brother's. Absolutely, my brother has two of those Burmese mountain dogs. They're like this big, and they love it when it's
I can
minus
ride
30
them.
out. They're crazy. Yeah, they're such.
goes
And
to
we found a dog I can ride.
They listen. They listen. I was walking with them the other day. The kids were on the bikes, and a car came around the corner, and I was dealing with the kids, and I told the dogs, here. And they came, and they sat, and I told them to sit, and they sat right down without, like, first command. I didn't have to repeat myself once. I had to repeat myself to the kids, not the dogs.
So here's the question I have for you guys. And whether you've had dogs in the past or dogs now, is there, when the dog sees that something's bothering you, you sit down on the couch and the dog walks over and just, if it's a big dog, it's right on your feet, just lays on your feet. Or if it's a small dog, just comes over and puts his head on your lap. Like, at what moment do you feel like, man, this is my best friend?
all the
Like, do
time
you
when I was
guys get that
younger.
all the time, or is it just me?
Yeah. all
When
the
I
time.
lived with when I lived with my dad, you know, because we've always had dogs, and this was Psycho, the first dog, that dog I grew up with. Every time I was depressed, sad, or something, you know, he was always, you know, lying. When I was in bed, he had his own little space on the side of the bed. He was always lying there every night with me. Every time I was gonna go to my room, he always joined me. He was there all the time with me, and a lot of the times when I was really sad, you know, he took his foot upon me, you know, his head, everything, you know, and he watched over me every second of the days and everything. And it was just the best dog that I've ever had in my life, and I cherish that dog. He was family, you know. It was not just a
Mm.
dog; it was family, you know. Best friend. I grew up with him, protected me. I remember because I'm allergic to wasps and everything like that, right? So when I was really young, I was super scared to get stung by the wasp and stuff like that. So Psycho runs and eats it. So of course he starts to be like, you know, and gets in pain, but it's just like, yeah, whatever, you know, that he didn't care, but he wanted to protect me. So he was always like that, no matter what. And he also lived over the normal dog years, actually, even when he had cancer and stuff like that. When we found out, you know, but he didn't care, you know. Finally, he got a son, and he became a kid again, you know, and it was just, you know, having a dog, even cats, but especially dogs, you know, they will stay with you in thick and thin. You know, they are packed. You know, they are family, and that, yeah.
Yeah. My dog, my dog, she'll sleep on the bed and just sleep between my legs because it's a comfort thing. She's like, I just
Yeah.
want to be next to you. And it's a comfort thing for me. It's like, I don't know what it
Mhm.
is. Like, if my wife's like, let's cuddle, I'm like, but my dog's like, hey, you want to cuddle? You want me to snuggle up next to you? Yes, please. It's just,
Yeah,
it's
just
something there. And petting my
yeah,
dog, it's just, I don't know.
but it is
It's
something
something I
with it,
really
you know.
appreciate. So that's another thing, guys. If you don't own a dog and you're able to have a dog at an apartment place or house, get one. Like,
Yeah,
dogs are the best
man's
thing,
best
except
friend.
Tyler's dog. Tyler's dog will just bite your legs. I
See,
know.
my
I love
dog,
your dog.
my dog,
Mhm.
my dog loves me so much that anybody that comes over, he's just really protective and territorial. I do need to take him into some obedience classes to break that, but oh, dude, I love the shit out of my dog, man. It's the best part of my day by far is when I come home and he's just so excited to see me. And actually, getting my dog, really pulled me out of a depression. And yeah, I go everywhere with my dog, dude. I love him. He's best part of my life.
There you go. Yeah, I love my dog.
Sometimes I always say, sometimes we don't deserve animals, man, or dogs. So
I know.
Seriously.
My dog comes and sleeps on my side of the bed on the floor till my wife leaves for work, and he jumps up in the bed and lays next to me.
See, that's
Mm,
oh man.
yeah,
It's just there's something about that. It's like, yeah.
yeah.
The last question I have is, what are things that help you get out of depression? I know we've mentioned some of them. Jason, because I remember this time I asked you. Don't worry. What are things that help you get out of depression?
Well, for me again, you know, it is mostly working. That is, I've always been like that since I was a child. You know, it's always keeping myself busy and finding stuff that interests me, and just my escapism. The first thing I started with as a kid was I was singing and dancing and theater, and still a big part of my life. You know, I like to write stuff. I like theater. It is just to find the stuff that really gets me into my own safe space in a way. You know, you can kind of call it safe space. You know, where when I work, nothing exists. You know, I forget the world. I'm in my own world, just focusing on my thing. Um, it's like I can sit and edit if it's a movie, TV show, just a video for something or an intro, whatever it is. I can just sit here for hours and hours and forget about the world and just focus on that and trying to make the best product that I can. And at the same time, you learn so many new stuff, for example, when you edit. And sometimes you can get mad, of course. So you get the aggression out sometimes when you do editing, because it's just like sometimes stuff doesn't work out and you export it and then suddenly fuck this fade doesn't work, this sound disappeared. It's always going to be something, you know. And then you're just like, okay, I need to go back, I need to redo this, I need to be better. And you better yourself, right, with it. And that is something that, you know, really helps me to get out of depression. And of course, writing music, because again, all the songs that I write, it's mostly, you know, sensitive topics, you know, because that's what I care about. So I write about, you know, everything that goes in my mind, that happens in my life, that have happened, and I put that on, you know, paper or the PC, and I just, you know, type it, write it, and then, you know, try to find a melody, get the emotions out. Yeah, so there's a lot of things that gets me out of it. You know, I have found a lot of stuff, and I do see that I wrote my name wrong on this fucking thing. And it doesn't say Jason. I saw it now.
It's Jackney.
Yeah, Jack Nino, yeah. But yeah, that's some of the
Ant-Man.
things.
Who, me?
Yes.
What's the question? I was replying in the chat.
What are things that help you get out of depression?
Let's see. Going into depression. I don't try to fight it. If I'm feeling a little melancholy, I'll lean into it a little bit. I'll listen to some very depressing music. I will start working on something, usually artistic, and I don't stay there very long. I acknowledge it. I let myself feel like, all right, I feel like shit. This happened, that happened. It's like, all right, that's enough of that. Like, now I have to get back to work, and get back into doing something. And I find that, like, a lot of the things that I do, I make action figures and I'll send them to people, and watching an expression when somebody opens up a box, and they get overwhelmed with happiness for a few minutes. Like, you know what? I just put a little of that into the world. So it's like, there's a notch for me. It helps me feel better about myself. And it's, life's too short to dwell on things that are negative and down. Abraham Lincoln once said, "We are as happy as we choose to be." And here's a guy who had a miserable life in a lot of ways. So I take those words and I take them to heart. And if you choose to be a little bit happier, you know, you will. And you're gonna have bad times, but they'll pass.
Yeah. Tom.
I'm trying to think now. I already mentioned those ones, but I'm going to go back onto the one we mentioned earlier. Is for me personally, was actually getting into shape. That I found slowly over time helped bring me out of it. You don't think that it's important, but actually, not eating healthy, not taking care of yourself, that makes you depressed, even on top of the other things that are depressing you. And I find getting out, staying active, being physically fit, going for my 4-mile walks a day and trying to hit the weights again, and it helps. I've been feeling a lot better, and I've been really down again lately. Just waiting for a grant on a new camera. I need to do some film, but that's the other thing. Between that, like I said, the number one thing for me is sitting behind the lens. I can't explain it. It's a euphoric sense of escapism to where. That's why it's my career now. It's really, for me personally, like sitting behind a lens, taking a photo, or like I said, if I get the
a
new
magical
camera,
feeling.
it is. It's amazing. It's euphoric. I'm working on I want a horror short for a competition here in October. I'm hoping to get the new grant. So there's things I'm inspired by that, and it's like, okay, I got my future set out now. And it's like, okay, there's something to work towards. And I'm working my butt off towards it. I work 13-hour days, editing stuff, working on this, that. And the last few weeks, I don't get paid for it. But you know what? It's going to make something of myself, and I'm working towards, and I know there's an end goal to be a success, to make this. And that's another thing, having goals, set goals for yourself, because that way you give yourself direction. You give yourself, okay, I'm going to do this.
Yes.
What do I got to do to get to those steps? And you work hard towards it. It's always good to have a goal. And then that way you won't think about the depressions. A lot of times it'll get tunnel vision. I get tunnel vision. And then, doing a shoot or anything like that, like being on a movie set, I get tunnel vision. Then I can forget about those for at least the moment I'm doing that. And for me personally,
Exactly.
that's helped greatly. So.
Well, Tom,
Here,
I have
brother.
to give you a bit of advice too, though.
Oh yeah, sure.
If you're behind that lens there and you happen to be outside of a window, be very careful because Mexican Iron Man might be coming through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep. That's the fact.
Oh, God.
Press, motherfucker.
Every time have you seen the video where the guy, it's like the second story, you see the guy just in his tidy whities. I think it's like in France or somewhere in Europe.
Yeah, I've seen
And
that.
he's trying to get out and he gets stuck on the fence and he drops down.
Oh man.
Every time I see that clip, I think of Mexican Iron Man now. It is without a doubt
Right.
the funniest thing ever. Oh man. Tyler.
Oh man, I hit a real low point several years ago in my early to mid 20s, and I was struggling to find a reason to go on. I was very suicidal. It was not a good time in my life at all. And what really helped me was writing. I've always been a writer. I had, short stories, poems, song lyrics, all this stuff. Nothing really complete. Nothing that I was really confident putting my name on. And I just decided, like, if I'm going to check out, I need to at least accomplish something. One fucking thing, anything. And I chose writing. So over the course of 10 years, I wrote a novel, and I've never published it. I've published other things, but I've never published that one just because it's too close to my heart of what it meant, because that was my sole reason for living at that point. And since then, I mean, writing has always been there for me. Going through my divorce, I wrote a novel, Apocalypse Manifesto, if anybody wants to check it out. I wrote that shit in 5 months. I worked 12, 13 hours a day every time I had a day off, just because I needed to escape. I needed to get out of the grief that I was going through. And that was just my outlet, was writing. But, exercise, I'll go surf. I'll try to do things that are healthy because I know drinking is not going to help me at all. That's going to make me feel worse. And I'm glad that I made that mistake enough times to know not to continue making it. So what really saves me is just escaping into a story and just really going for it, just immersing myself in it for, all day, as long as I can sit there and write.
That's a pretty good, yeah. Canadian Spider-Man.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of things. One of the things I can do to get out of the depression is I like to go and buy big two-handed machete. It's called a katana machete. Katana machete. So yeah, I like to go buy another knife. The bigger the better,
That's
and that makes me feel better. And then I go play with it, and it's seriously, I'm not joking. It made this, because I went to it was an antique show, and talking to the guy, the old guy was much older than myself. Had a blast talking to him. He told me about the history, and then I get to take it home and play with it. And just having this, it just, yeah. So I go buy another knife, or a hole puncher, or a hole puncher. And the
Hole punches are nice.
They are, and going and shooting them, and try to see how far you can shoot the hole puncher from. That it's empowering, and I'm not joking here. It's Canada Goose flying overhead.
They're
Or I'd
spying
come
on
out,
you.
or I'd come out to one of the many places. This is one place. We have many places along the river or along one of many lakes. Getting out into nature and getting exercise. You know what? I want to echo what Tom and the other guys said. Getting in shape. You know, eating right. That's a big part. Diet. Physicians and doctors today, apparently, according to several famous YouTubers that I'm not going to name, they don't need to take a single course in nutrition. And yet, diet is one of the leading causes of many ailments. I'm sure all of you, you're wise and gentlemen with experience. Is that not right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Diet. So
Mm-hmm.
change your diet. Stop eating shit.
Yep.
If you feel like crap, it's because you're eating crap. That old thing. Remember when computers first came out, Andy, and the thing, garbage in, garbage out, right? Garbage in, garbage out. Same with your body. It's a machine.
Yep.
Don't stop putting crap in your body and you'll feel better.
You can't
Get some
pronounce it, don't eat
exercise.
it.
And get sun. All this talk of not, hiding from the sun these days and the sun will kill you. No, I think they want us to be weak men. I think they want our immune systems to be weakened so they can sell us pharmaceutical products. Get your vitamin D up. Don't get
Very
a sun.
important.
Do it the old-fashioned way. I never wear sun cream, but do it incrementally. Don't be an idiot. Don't gradually work your way up, but get sun on your face. It'll really change your mood. It really will. As soon as the sun hits my face, I smile. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Man.
That's a good one, man.
Lack of vitamin D has
sun.
been proven to actually cause depression. So getting out of the sun actually,
Vitamin
it is.
D.
It's been proved it. Vitamin D.
They thought it was
getting the
just
sun is-
our teeth and bones. Turns out it fuels our friggin' immune system. Hello.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why I need to take a lot of vitamin pills and drinks and stuff like that because I have a lot of lack of D vitamin in my body. So
One of the things that that helps me get out of depression, like I said, because I think it was Cam's courses, crash courses on YouTube in the chat. He was talking about any good movies, like new modern movies with good morals and get you pumping. There's not really. For me, it's watching terrible action movies or any type of action movie that just it helps me for some reason. It kind of like makes, especially like Rocky, Rambo. The other one is The Warrior, the UFC, the two brothers who fight. It just for some reason those things kind of help me. And then going out and building things. Like I made my wife this. And I did a stream of it, and I was like, I'll do a little stream of it. Some people watched. It was kind of fun to actually do that. It was a little bit more difficult to stream and build something, but I made my wife a pallet garden thing that she wants to start doing. Just doing something like that. Be creative. It's like it's
Nice.
a little. It helps you. It gets your brain going. I think the moment you start training your brain, getting your brain going, and being outside, doing all those things, it helps. You're being in nature, you're being in the surrounding. Like go camping, go do something that just will help you build up your testosterone and your masculinity, and that's something that's needed. And I will say this: I know a lot of guys when they feel down and they feel depressed, they're like, I can do this on my own. I can, which some probably, yeah, but don't be afraid to go to one of your close friends and be like, hey, I'm dealing with this. Like, they might crack a joke here and there, some will, but deep down, they understand. Because sometimes the ones who crack jokes right away, they're dealing with something similar, and it's like an insecurity thing. And I think guys need to not have that insecurity and just be like, hey, this is what I'm dealing with. We're all in it on the same boat. We just deal with things differently. But in the end, where it's like, man, we can just a bond. If guys help each other out, man, we'll be rock stars.
Yeah.
Now we come
Well
to
said.
one of the cool segments of the show. Every time I hear that whip, I'm always like, whoa, whoa, whoa. That's right. And it's more changed now, which I think it's cool. It's improved to the point where we all get to pick someone. Most of us can remember someone who a friend, whatever, out of the hat. Because sometimes some people are like, I don't know who that is. And it's like, you don't know who George Washington is? Yeah, there's some people who don't know who George Washington is. So, yeah, we'll go around the table. Jason or Jackney.
I changed my name.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't
Jason.
remember what it is. I've not been here too often on the show, so you need to remind me what the tip of the hat is about again.
So I'll pick someone else so you kind of get an idea.
Okay, because I've not been here too often. So
Canadian Spider-Man.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I can show Jason what tip of the hat is, and I'm glad you're. I just want to take a sec. Thanks for being on the panel, man. I'm really glad you're here, Jason. And
Thank you.
if you ever need to ditch me, Steve, in order to have him, please go ahead. I'm not joking.
All right.
Sorry,
Canadian,
who
you're
was the
too
celebrity
nice.
again?
Canadian, you are
Duly
too nice,
noted.
man.
No, man, you're gold, Jason.
Thank
Sorry,
you.
who was the actions? Hulk Hogan, was it? Princess Diana.
No, it's so we're picking. So you get to pick the person.
Oh, another person. Wow, another huge influence male in my life.
Do you want me to go to someone else? Give you a little bit more
Yes,
time.
please. Yeah.
All right.
And now I remember it
Um,
now. I do remember.
Okay.
It now.
Do you want to go, Jason?
I can go. Yeah.
Okay.
Tip of the hat to one person in my life, other than my father, of course, because I do have another male figure in my life that have inspired me and given me so much joy, and he's also the reason why I'm part of Bruce Lee's legacy of martial arts. Memnock, aka Håkon Didriksen, who's also a doom and black metal artist from Norway, been in a lot of bands and stuff like that. He's kind of my second father in a way. Even my father agrees with that, and I like that. They're good friends, so I kind of have two dads in a way. And Memnock has been there for me when I've been down, and I'm one of the few people that actually came to visit him to work out and train and all that kind of stuff. And he's always been a big part of my life, and he's been, a master for me and a father figure in other ways that my father couldn't. And yeah, I just want to, I love him as a father, as family, and one of the greatest people on earth. And yeah, every time I've been in a bad, had it really rough. It is funny because my dad contacts him too, and so he also can talk to me, and he contacts you, he contacts you even if it's call or message or something like that, and help me to find the chi in your life in a way, the body, and take care of yourself in other ways, like with training and stuff like that. So yeah, to Memnock, my second father. So
Nice. Canadian Spider-Man.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Steve. It was sitting right here in front of me all along, and I'm not joking.
the uncle of YouTube.
That's right. I only had the pleasure of knowing him for about 3 years, but he is certainly one of the more recent men that has inspired me. He encouraged me and inspired me to start a YouTube channel. And after watching his style and his rapport and the way that he made his panelists be at ease, and
Be
he did a
yourself.
really good job. Yeah, yeah, no, including myself. I was always at ease on his show, no matter at what state I was in. And I learned a lot from him. So I got to say, Gil Bavell, Cardinal Sin. You know, he taught me how to listen to other people, and he did a really good job of this. He asked a very key question, and he just let the other people go. And you know, I streamed with that man. We did 15 hours straight, drinking the entire time.
That's crazy, man. That was all crazy that time.
Yeah, and we had people join us. I think Coach from Echo Base Network, Nick, joined us. A whole bunch of people joined us, and he went through the night, and he was professional the whole time. He didn't embarrass himself at all during the entire 15 hours, and if he can do that, you know, I think we all can. So I got to say, Gil inspired me to really take the opportunity, I guess, the opportunity to meet some incredible people that we're really the first people to be able to get to know people like this. I mean, I can't be in the same room, but you know, Tom and Tyler and Andy and Jason and Steve, I really feel like I actually know you more than just over the telephone, having the video components here. So
that's where I met you too, man. You know, with Cardinal and everything.
Yeah, Cardinal encouraged me to use it. You know, not for money, but to meet good people. You know, not for any sort of monetary gain at all, but use it to reach out and meet people from all over the world. Tom, is that a Spider-Man shirt?
Yes.
Yes.
You guys want to get a room or anything? You know,
I do. I have my.
You all gonna read
pencil
Twilight?
case.
Nice.
Y'all gonna read Twilight
Yeah,
and
it's
put
full of
Spider-Man
weed.
there?
No pencils.
Spider-Gwen.
Yeah.
Spider-Gwen.
Spider-Gwen.
Tom.
Oh yeah. Geez, I've already given the dad, my uncle, my brother. I'm going to reach out about a gentleman who passed away a few years ago. My art teacher from high school, Peter Salmon. He's from Wales. How I love British comedy and stuff. He always had that British dry humor, and he was my art teacher in high school. And I was a rebel rouser. You know, I was always the one that picked on, but I was still kind of caused trouble myself sometimes. And I remember one time I got in trouble, and he sat me down. He knew I liked art, and he said, "Tom, smarten up and get your head on straight. You're good at what you do. You're good at this." And I always liked their class, and he was literally blunt with me, and he just did not shy away. And I was like, "Yes, sir, you're right." And I was able to keep in touch with him after he retired. He said, "I can get rid of the high school kids." He had his own studio in the downtown area, and I'd always go in and ask for advice occasionally. Like, I was going to be a teacher one time. He said, "Don't. The system's broken." Blah blah blah. Then he goes, "Follow your dream." And he knew I liked photography. He's one of the guys who started me wanting to say, just follow it, and then I've been to college, do things, but he always believed in me. And he was just a very blunt and honest man, but he told me what I needed to hear, not what I wanted to hear, but what I needed to hear sometimes, and said, "Listen, smarten up, and that's what needs to be done. Sometimes it's not what you want to hear. It's what you need to hear, and the truth." And he did that for me. And yeah, I believe that's one of the reasons I'm great. I have a great love for this is through him, because of him. So I thank him for that. So, and we lost him a few years ago. Sadly, he was getting up there and stuff, but he left a good legacy in the art community here. And good man. So
Cool. Tyler.
Yeah, when I think tip of the hat, usually it's people that are older than me that you like really look up to and admire. But my best friend Ian, dude, he was my best man at my wedding, former roommate. One of the first friends I made when I moved out here to California about 20 years ago. Dude has been there for me, man. I mean, this place I was working at just went under, and I was already living paycheck to paycheck. I was fucked. I would have been homeless, but Ian was like, "Dude, just sleep on my couch, man. Like, I got you." In my darkest days, I knew that I could count on him. He's always been there, and vice versa. I've had his back. Love that dude to death, man. And just how much I admire him. So a little bit about him. He had a pretty rough growing up. Like, he didn't have anything given to him. He really had to forge his own way. Without a college degree, he started in sales, working as a used car salesman. worked his way all the way up to a pharmaceutical rep where he was making well over six figures. He had a great job, but he realized that he wanted more. He wasn't content. So he quit. He went to school full time, pursued a degree at Cal Poly for math, which is not easy. And yeah, just completely, when he was already, I think he did that when he was 38. He's 41 now, 40. Just to have the balls to say like, yeah, I'm making six figures, but I'm not happy what I'm doing. I'm going to switch it up, and then just go to school full time, graduate, and now he has a great job again. It's just, man, I admire that. He got really, really sick a couple years ago, and it was pretty scary. But man, he pulled through, persevered, and that's like, next to Steve, my go-to. When shit's not going good, I reach out to Ian, Steve. I got a couple like close friends. I don't have a lot of friends, but the ones that I do have, I love to death. And that's my tip of the hat. My buddy Ian.
Cool. Angry old man, Andy.
I'd like to give a tip of a hat to a buddy of mine. He's hasn't had things the easiest. Has had to overcome a lot. Needed to get some confidence and work his way up a little bit and find his footing, find what he wanted to do. And you saw some of the things that he was going through that maybe like there was some lessons in there that could help some other people. So our buddy Steve here went ahead and made this show that no matter how many people tune in, there's something somebody that's watching this can take or even pass on to a friend of yours. So there he is. There's my tip of the hat to our buddy Rancor Steve for putting himself out there and taking on this responsibility and plugging along with it to make a better spot in the world for men.
Thank you.
Amen.
Here.
Yeah, it's always weird. Yeah. Thank you. For me, it's this schmuck wasn't able to make it on the panel tonight. It's okay. We talked on the phone. He's like, I may not be able to make it. I was like, it's okay. Mike Lorber, the comic relief crusader. He's kind of like the dad figure, and the conversations we have, we're kind of the mischief bunch. We will be willing to get ourselves in trouble, but when I was dealing with my depression, he was one of the guys I would go and talk to, and we would just talk. Like if I'm on my way home after work, just talk, and he's helped me understand a lot about life and what it is getting older, and it's just that whole bonding. I never thought I could have good friends that live in another country that I could rely on and call, and if he doesn't pick up, no biggie, because I know he'll probably call me or text me and be like, hey, this is this. And he's a guy he's a big soft teddy bear. He really does love people and he does care about people, and it's just, I don't know, it's just something about him. It's just it's like a dad figure. He always talks to me like I'm a son, it's pretty cool because I don't get that much these days. And just when he talks to me, I can tell he's like, we'll try to do it this way, and it's just very guidelines. And I'm like, all right, cool. And even though he's not that much older than me, it's just him being a dad. He's like, I got a lot of wisdom, and he's a goofball. If you never get a chance to get to know him, he's a guy that you should get to know. But that's the show, guys.
I'll second that. I've known him for like 30 years. He is exactly what you say.
Oh yeah, he's hilarious. He's a big old goofball. And I guess
he's awesome.
Here's one story. We were talking on the phone, and I guess he's like what, 6'3", 6'4". He's a tall
guy.
dude.
Yeah.
And he doesn't look tall on the camera. And I even told him, I was like, what if we went to a convention and we dressed up as twins for the movie Twins. You, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and me, Dan DeVito. He. I thought he was going to go to the hospital because he couldn't stop laughing. He thought that was the funniest thing ever. He was in tears. He's like, "Dude, you gotta stop. You gotta stop, man. I'm dying over here." And I was like, "Well, hey." I think that'd be funny, because when he told me, he's like, "Yeah, I'm like 6 something." I was like, "No, you're not."
Always is.
Yeah, and I'm just 4. If I was 4 inches shorter, or no, it's if I was 5 inches shorter, I'd be close to as a short person, or a little person, or a midget, dwarf, whatever you call it. I just snuck out. But thanks everyone who joined in the chat, in the on YouTube, Rumble, and X. This has been an episode I didn't want to do at first, because I'm like, man, it's gonna be a heavy hitter, dude. I had fun. Every episode that I feel like I don't know, it ends up being great. Next week we will be doing, since it's going to be close to 4th of July, barbecue and freedom. Yeah, it's a cooking episode, guys. So make sure you eat before. Yeah, so that'll be next week's topic, barbecue and freedom, because we're awesome. And yeah, on that note, I always like to have one guy give the send off. I had a lot of fun, guys. This has been a blast. We'll see you guys next week at 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern time, whatever that is in Canada, in Finland, or wherever you're at, Jason. But
Finland.
Finland, God damn it. Norway, get it right.
Norway.
Don't
Okay there, Thor.
Come on.
Whatever. Thank you guys very much, including the chat. Let everyone know about the show.
Nice.
We have a lot of fun. It's the most unwoke show you'll ever see.
And we say bye-bye.
That's right, President Trump. Bye-bye.